Hi, good afternoon, class. My name is Dave Williams. Along with my other group member, Mr. Ramon Delgado, we did our project over Walmart's globalization risk complexities, which is kind of an umbrella term for their emergence in new markets, some of the risks associated with that. Risk statement: the major factor affecting Walmart's global investment and financial decisions is that of risk assumption. Some of the factors that play into this are tariffs, NAFTA and NAFTA 2.0, labor rights groups, political uncertainties, and emerging markets. So, to talk briefly about Walmart and their relationship with JD.com. Uh, so, we'll give some, we all know what Walmart is and who they are, but just to give you a brief overview, Walmart operates over 11,000 retail units under 63 banners in 28 countries and e-commerce websites in 10 countries. It employs roughly 2 million associates around the world, with 1.5 million in the US alone. Overseas, Walmart posted a fourth quarter FY17 sales for its international division of 31 billion in net sales. 10 of the 11 markets posted positive sales, while 6 of the 11 grew comp sales by more than 4%. So you can see that Walmart not only thrives in the US, but it also thrives overseas. Founded in 1994, JD.com is China's largest online retailer and biggest internet company by revenue. It can offer same day or next day delivery to over 1 billion people. Within a year, teaming up with Walmart, they have launched 5 online stores on JD platforms and 134 stores spread across 18 cities that can offer less than 1 hour deliveries. Then, as you can see there, in 2018, they co-invested with JD 500 million in Dada, which is a Chinese online grocery delivery company with 20 million monthly active users. So at less than 3 years old, the partnership was intended at countering Alibaba's HEMAFresh brick and mortar stores. So the Alibaba HEMAFresh is equal to the Walmart and JD.com. So we all know who Alibaba is. And then the HEMAFresh is kind of the same thing, where they provide store delivery of grocery items, supply items, stuff like that. Alibaba is considering integrating these stores with Tmall and Taobao, which is a Chinese leading food delivery app. Their counter to that is to utilize Dada's vast use of crowdsourced deliveries. So think of like Uber Eats and Grubhub, stuff like that. It allows large companies to streamline their traditional logistic networks to downsize into smaller, more manageable, and cost-effective nodes of traffic. So obviously, as you can see, this has all kinds of risks all over it associated with it: logistics risk, financial risk. The next slide, which we'll go over, the current tariffs affecting China with the current president. So they have all that to think about, plus their continued globalization, more or less domination of the retail market. So on to the next slide. So the tariffs versus China versus President Trump. So as we all know, the administration recently hiked tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods, and they're proposing tariffs on an additional $325 billion in goods, to include toys, clothes, and consumer electronic goods, which obviously Walmart sells a ton of that stuff. So they're not immune to any of this stuff. So Like many stores, Walmart has avoided the tariffs by altering its financial outlooks, rewriting supply chains, or otherwise raising the price tags, which goes along with the next bullet there of what Brett Biggs recently said is we're going to do everything we can to keep prices low. That's who we are. Why he says that is that's Walmart's foundational motto is everyday low prices. I think it actually used to say that in the stores, but I don't think it says it anymore. Obviously, however, increased tariffs will lead to increased prices, we believe, for our customers. So everybody needs a job. Everyone wants to get paid. So they have to offset the tariffs somehow. However, on the flip side, higher prices caused by tariffs reduce consumers' disposable income, which limits what and how much they can buy. So you can kind of see the writing on the wall with the increased tariffs and Walmart trying to find ways to absorb some of that cost versus sending it to the customer. On to NAFTA. So U.S., Canada, and Mexico all lead to NAFTA 2.0. It's called NAFTA 2.0 because it's the 20th anniversary of NAFTA. NAFTA regulates $1.3 trillion in goods. Right now, from what I've read, Mexico and Canada have already agreed and signed the revision. It's just sitting with us up in the administration. However, with the looming 2020 primaries going on, it's a safe bet to probably assume that this is not going to get passed this year, since we're coming up close to the end of December. So that's going to cut into what's it going to look like for everyone next year if the current president doesn't make it and somebody new comes in and scratches it and goes back to original NAFTA. We could be looking at NAFTA 3.0 very well right after that. And it also could affect Walmart as a whole. As you can see, they have invested $1.3 billion in logistics in Latin America to expand Walmex, which is short for Walmart Mexico, as they have a huge stake down there in Walmart or down in Mexico of trying to maintain their presence down there. While they've struggled in overseas markets, including Britain and China, Walmex has remained a bright spot with third quarter revenue growing 10.8%, $6.25 billion. So you can see there's a lot of money still to be had down in Mexico as long as NAFTA turns out to benefit everybody. But if NAFTA should falter and the tariffs continue with China, Walmart's going to probably have to continue passing their cost down to the customer, which could lead to risk of customers shopping elsewhere, i.e. Lidl, Aldi, all the little pop-up chains that are coming over here and that have seen significant growth in that market of retail and groceries. Some other quick tidbits. NAFTA generates approximately 5 million jobs in the U.S. And Mexico actually has to pay an average duty of 1.9% to play. 2.5% for cars and 6.4% on agricultural goods. Just when Walmart's making headway, possibly China with JD.com and Mexico with growing success with Walmex, we still have labor rights to talk about. Institute for Contemporary Observation has documented hundreds of factory workers with wage, work hour, and work safety violations down in Mexico and elsewhere overseas. Hey Toys, Hey Toys. I'm not sure how you say that. Make bobbleheads. Walmart, other companies. Um, there was an investigation that showed that timesheets with up to 24-hour work days and pay stubs showing workers being paid half for overtime work. Um, and then there's the CECC, which you can see there. That's just like a very, very 1/10% of what the committee is supposed to do. Um, there was a recent report authored by them, which 16 million Chinese workers were exposed to toxic or hazardous conditions in the workplace. These are all part of the either retail or majority of Walmart moving in, and Walmart trying to instill its corporate culture here over there. So if you get like a group of people that aren't used to um, the door is always open, approachable managers, so on and so forth, especially with how China works, it's not going to go the way Walmart wants it to. So they have to think of what the risk is of moving into another country. You have to react to market conditions and the people's attitude toward some company like that coming in because they're like, here, Walmart, oh, great, Walmart. And then they move in, but they're still susceptible to their current democratic ways of doing stuff. So just because Walmart moves in doesn't mean it's a good thing. We would like to think that, but it's not always the case. So on to the next slide. This was my presumption without actual hard data I could find. So I've kind of built a basic influence diagram depicting Walmart's merger with the South African company Massmart Holdings in 2012. So the foundation is expanding new market, and like I talked about, the corporate culture, labor rights. Expanding a new market is going to affect the labor rights, economic conditions, and unions. Walmart doesn't operate or agree with unions in the United States. However, there are unions outside of the United States that they have to agree by and abide by. So that's something that they have to take into effect as well. So I can see target population, market share, employee well-being, all that pretty much leads to long-term growth in that particular market. Is it going to be good? Is it not going to be good? They didn't do too well over in Britain, but they're doing well in Mexico, a little bit of China, minus the tariffs. So with all this and taken into play, there are a lot of risks associated with Walmart's globalization outlook and financial decision making when moving into new markets. Thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed it. Any comments are welcome, and happy holidays.